we're at the cabin working on a rainy day. We have our insulation we're going to install today. It's Reflectix. Basically a foil front and back with bubble wrap in the middle. So I'm going to be using that. A little bit minimal on the insulation. Also have a little steel window screen that I'm going to be using to staple over some gaps and spray foam that in to prevent carpenter bees and whatever else in the future. So I'll start on that first. I'm using this little Bluetti AC2A to give myself a little light out here, keep devices charged. Eventually this is what I'm going to use to charge up with the solar panels, bring in for the night. So in all these areas of bird blocking, it's the area in between the rafters, I installed a steel window screen and then I sprayed spray foam through the window screen to fill the gaps. And now I'm adding Reflectix on top of it. That'll help prevent any sort of bugs, rodents, whatever, from getting in. Carpenter bees is what I'm most worried about. Drilled in right here, there was a big pile of sawdust. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on those guys. They're not a big problem outside because everything outside is stained with pine tar. They don't like the pine tar stain. But working my way around with the insulation. Well, we had a little snow last night. It's been raining for a few hours, so it all melted. But the insulation's coming along pretty good. I think we're gonna wrap it up today, we'll see. Still have to do the floors, underneath the floors at a later date. This is where I'm at now. Gotta clean this mess up. Work my way over the top here. But getting pretty close. Ceiling, of course, will take a little extra material. We'll see if we have enough. Oh, hey, welcome to the cabin. Come on in, we've been working on things. Well, I made it as far as I can with the insulation. My staple gun jammed up, and I'm pretty much out of insulation. There's only a couple spots left to hit, just these small gaps in between these rafters on both ends, and of course the floor. Haven't quite decided if I'm gonna get underneath the space and crawl around and staple in between all of the floor joists. This is the material I'm using, it's called Reflectix. Some people may say, well, this isn't anywhere near adequate. It's just a thin piece, but I've used this before, and the reason for using this is, you're adhering this directly to your outer wall material. You're not creating, a void where any small animals could crawl in and keep themselves warm during winter. Something like fiberglass bat or rock wool. It's a great product, but you're also creating, a nesting ground for all sorts of animals. And here where we live, there's a big problem with carpenter bees. They drill into the wood exterior on a lot of wooden buildings and structures. Here we don't quite have that issue because of the black pine tar stain. That's a repellent for them. So I want to do everything I can to mitigate animals, crawling in here when I'm gone. Obviously this isn't my full-time residence. This is a place I'm going to use every now and then. So I want to design it in a way that, small animals, critters, insects, whatever, aren't going to find their way in and, use this as a habitat. So this stuff works great. Mice don't like it. So this is the way to go in my case. This is a radiant barrier. This cabin is in the forest. It's not going to get a lot of direct sunlight. But what it will get in the winter is heated with a wood stove. And that's where it really comes into play. Once this place heats up, that radiant barrier is going to act, to keep all the heat in. So I think it's going to be sufficient for the amount of time that this, structure is going to get used. So it's pretty affordable. The stuff didn't cost that much to, basically insulate the whole space. I'm going to have to buy some additional material to do the subfloor, basically, or, talked about multiple ways to do that, but I think that's going to work nicely. Some of the next things I need to do are mill all the paneling for the interior. I'm going to use pine for that. I'm going to just mill real thin. Haven't decided on the thickness. There'll probably be some varied thicknesses of paneling, but I'll have to create some supports in certain areas for the paneling to get nailed to. I want to leave some of the beams exposed. We have a little bit of a offset in some areas where we can, accommodate that. But yeah, have to mill the paneling. We have to mill all of the floor. This is just subfloor for the moment. And then, once we get that in place, we have all sorts of trim that we can use. We're going to be using cedar trim for all the windows to trim those out. Get a wood stove in hopefully by next winter, maybe hopefully sooner, and be a nice little place to spend some time in. All right, guys, we appreciate you stopping by the cabin. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thanks.